You know that feeling, right? When you're working with an AI, you explain a whole project, get everything set up, and then the next day, it has no idea who you are. It's like it has a bad case of amnesia. It is super frustrating. Well, there's this one open source project that's making huge waves for doing the exact opposite. It has a memory that's so good, it's actually changing how we think about what a personal AI can be. And look, this isn't just some marketing fluff. This is what real people, actual users, are saying about it. We're talking about OpenClaw, an AI assistant where you can literally just tell it to remember something, and it just does. It sounds like straight up magic, but it's really all thanks to this incredibly clever architecture that we are about to break down. But first, a quick little bit of history. This project moved so fast, it's kind of wild. It had 3 different names in just a matter of days. It started as Claudebot, then it became Moltbot, and then it landed on its final form, OpenClaw. Honestly, that chaotic energy is the perfect sign of just how much momentum this thing has and how passionate the community is. So, let's get into how it all works. Okay, so to really get why OpenClaw's memory is such a big deal, we first have to understand the core problem it's solving, that chatbot amnesia that seems to plague almost every other AI out there. It all boils down to this one concept, the context window. The easiest way to think about it is like a small whiteboard. As you're talking to an AI, you're writing on the board, but the board is only so big. Once it fills up, if you want to write something new, you have to erase the oldest stuff. That's it. That's why your AI forgets what you talked about yesterday or even just an hour ago. The slide just lays it out perfectly. On the one side, you have that temporary whiteboard of a normal chatbot. It just gets wiped clean every single time. But on the other side, you've got OpenClaw, which is more like cultivating a garden. It's a persistent, growing, and organized space where information can actually put down roots and stick around for weeks, months, or, well, forever. So let's take a walk through this garden. The whole key to understanding OpenClaw is that it doesn't just have some database. It has this carefully tended garden of memory, and it's all managed through a really smart 2-tier system. So the memory is broken down into these 3 brilliant parts. First, you've got the ephemeral daily logs. Think of this as the topsoil of the garden. It just captures the day-to-day chatter in these simple date-stamped files. Then you have the durable curated knowledge. These are the deep roots, a core memory.md file where all the supercritical facts go, the stuff that should never be forgotten. And finally, you've got session transcripts, which are kind of like photo albums the AI can flip through any time to remember the specifics of an old conversation. So how does this gardener manage all this? I mean, it's not just about having the files, it's about the really sophisticated tools it uses to take care of the garden. So let's peek inside the toolkit. The first tool is what the system calls context compaction, but honestly, it's easier to just think of it as pruning the bushes. Remember that limited whiteboard space, the context window? Well, OpenClaw has one too, but it manages it way smarter. Instead of just erasing old messages, it summarizes them. It pulls out the key facts and trims away all the conversational fluff. This keeps the memory healthy and stops it from getting all overgrown. But this right here, this is the gardener's smartest trick. This is the big innovation that stops important stuff from ever getting lost. It's called the Pre-Compaction memory flush. Imagine the gardener sees a plant getting a little too big. Before trimming it back, they carefully go in and collect all the best seeds to plant later. That's what's happening here. So here's how it works. When the conversation gets close to that limit, the agent triggers a secret, silent action in the background. It uses this special no reply command, which means you, the user, see absolutely nothing. It just happens. This gives the AI one last chance to look at the conversation and think, okay, what's important here? And then it writes those key insights into its long-term memory files right before the pruning happens. It's totally seamless and completely automatic. Of course, a huge garden of memories is pretty useless if you can't find anything in it, right? That's where hybrid search comes into play. It cleverly combines 2 different kinds of search. There's lexical search, which is like looking for an exact word in a book's index. It's perfect for finding a specific name or file. But then there's semantic search, which is more like asking a librarian for books about a certain topic. By using both, the AI can find the right memory with incredible accuracy, because it understands both the specific words you use and the ideas behind them. And this table really puts it all into perspective. You see, traditional AI memory systems, often called RAG, they rely on these complex vector databases that are basically black boxes. You can't just peek inside. But OpenClaw's source of truth? It's just simple Markdown files, plain text. They are completely human readable. You can literally open up memory.md in a text editor and edit your AI's core memories yourself. This transparent, file-first approach is an absolute game changer because it gives you ultimate control. Okay, but with all this memory, how does it keep everything organized? Well, that's where session isolation comes in. A good gardener knows you don't plant all your vegetables in the same exact plot. OpenClaw automatically uses separate pots for different conversations, especially for group chats. This means the context from your work project in Slack will never, ever bleed into your fantasy football chat in Telegram. All right, but we have to be real here. An AI with this much power, this much access to your digital life, one that can read your files and remember everything, it's not just a powerful tool. It's also a potential risk. We've got to talk about the security side of things. And I don't think anyone says it more bluntly than the security team over at Cisco. This quote just perfectly captures the two sides of the coin here. On the one hand, OpenClaw's capabilities are groundbreaking. On the other, all that power comes with some huge responsibility. So let's be super clear about the risks. Since OpenClaw runs on your own machine, you can give it permissions to do almost anything. A malicious instruction hidden in an email or on a website, what's called a prompt injection, could trick it into doing something really harmful. And because you're hosting it yourself, a simple mistake in your setup could accidentally expose your entire chat history or your API keys to the whole internet. But you can be smart about this. The community has already figured out some clear best practices. The safest thing to do is not run it on your main computer, at least not at first. Use a container like Docker to keep it isolated, or run it on a completely separate machine. That's why you hear about people buying cheap Mac minis just for this. And this is crucial. Never, ever give it admin rights. Treat it like a very powerful tool and be really deliberate with the permissions you grant it. So where does all of this lead? I mean, OpenClaw's memory system isn't just some cool feature in an open source project. It's really pointing toward a fundamental shift in how we're going to interact with AI. You see, the patterns that OpenClaw has laid out, that file-first approach, the hybrid search, that automatic memory flush, they're becoming the new baseline. It's a reference architecture. This is what people are going to expect from any serious personal AI from now on. It's shown us all what's actually possible. And this leaves us with this really fascinating and maybe a little bit unsettling final thought. We are actively building AIs that act as a second brain for us. But what happens when that second brain, this perfectly organized, instantly searchable garden of your life, actually becomes more reliable than your first one? That's something we're all going to have to think about as this tech keeps moving forward.